It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of Friday the 13th of June, 2003. We've got 3 films to look at today, so let's go ahead and get right to it. We'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend. I guess big in quotation marks, because this was not a big hit. In fact, it was seen as kind of an underperforming film, if not a bomb, and that is, of course, the Rugrats and the Wild Thornberrys meeting up for the first time ever in Rugrats Go Wild.
When the Rugrats go overboard,
We're different.
legends will meet.
Yeah, Woogie. Where'd you come from?
Spike
Hey,
will speak,
could you give a dog a little warning?
and Trouble will meet her double.
Should I stay or should I go?
Rugrats Go Wild, featuring the voice of Bruce Willis as Spike.
Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about.
Rated PG. Now playing only in theaters.
Ah, the days when the Nickelodeon movie was promoted on a competing network and they didn't want to show the logo by any means necessary of Nickelodeon's. So I always found that kind of amusing, and even the post that I have here on my written review actually has the Nickelodeon logo taken out of that as well. So I just find that kind of amusing. But since Rugrats and the Wild Thornberrys made the successful transition to the big screen, and it would make some sense if they had their paths crossed, Nickelodeon decided to make the third Rugrats movie a crossover film with the Wild Thornberrys, and thus we have said film. And of course, as the plot indicates, the Rugrats go on a cruise, their ship gets capsized during a storm, end up on the same island as the Wild Thornberrys, and of course the chaos and hilarity ensues from there. And with Rugrats in Paris and Wild Thornberrys being vast improvements over their TV shows, this movie in particular feels like a major step down in comparison to both shows and what both preceding movies had brought to kind of expand the characters and stories in both of those films. But they've gone back to more of a formulative approach here that's been done to death over and over again. And I'm sorry, I'll stick with the Jetsons meet the Flintstones, or When the Simpsons meets Family Guy, thank you very much, because this is about what you would expect from a film like this. But then again, it could get by with some of the interactions between the characters having some entertainment value to them, and they do. At least some of them, even if they try to make you think some characters from one show that have the same characteristics or character traits from other shows, they just cram in it, which they just cram in here. Like, would anyone even compare Angelica to Debbie? I mean, I never made that connection before. Heck, Chucky being compared to Donnie, mostly because they have the same hair, but different color. I mean, and then when you have a movie that's being sold off by having Bruce Willis as the voice of Spike whenever Eliza's around him, it honestly works a lot better than I thought it would have been, and it would have given Willis credit for. I mean, I'm hearing the voice of John McClane coming out of Spike the Dog from the Rugrats. It's a concept that's so hilarious and stupid, and it works, again, for the most part. I mean, there are those ridiculously corny throwaway lines, like if they're trying to talk down to the audience or saying some pretty childish lines. Like, there's pointless references, like the last line Spike has in the movie is, "As dog is my witness, I'll never lose my babies again." And it's just like, lack of creativity there, to say the least. And also, Spike kind of takes over for Darwin pretty much as Eliza's sidekick. Darwin's literally just pushed off to the side of the movie. He barely has anything to do in this film whatsoever. Like, he has 2 to 3 lines in this whole movie, and that's it. The rest of it is just him screeching. Like, they completely tossed him off to the side because Spike's right there, so just replace the monkey with the dog, I guess. And the adventure really isn't that exciting either. And that's the worst thing about this movie. We're just watching the babies just walking around the jungle, and that's it. Nothing interesting happens until we get to the third act, when we start to get into the action and adventure when you have the clouded leopard after them. And even then, there's really not a whole lot there. There's more adventure in the first 2 Rugrats movies compared to this film. And this one gets the PG rating because more adult humor, I guess. They gotta throw that in there, but, and then there's the big climax at the end, which is really, really lackluster, because it's a situation where there's a big subplot where Nigel sees the babies at first. He falls off of a mountain, gets hit by a coconut, and he thinks he's a baby, and so that's why the Rugrats can understand him at first. And there's a situation where they get stuck inside this bathysphere, and they're trying to go for some realism here. I get it, but these are just long, drawn out scenes where Nigel's just keeping up hope and oxygen ticking away, and it goes on for 20 minutes. And this is an 81-minute movie. I mean, this is about 1/4 of the whole movie. And halfway through it, I was just like, alright, we get it, just wrap it up already, because it was going on for so long and nothing was going on. Like, this is a film that should have had a lot more. It has a lot more ambition to it, but it just never delivers on any of it whatsoever. It's like the Hey Arnold movie from the year before. It was supposed to be a TV movie at one point, but unlike Hey Arnold, they shelved everything that they had and started from scratch, and even then, that still couldn't prevent the movie from being a gigantic letdown in the end. I mean, you could have had something exciting with these, but overall, it's a drag, and unfortunately, it just ends the Rugrats and the Wild Thornberrys movies on a bad note. And the box office wasn't really helping it either, and neither was the fact that they literally had a smell-o-vision format placed into this with Odorama. Like, you could get these cards at the movie theater, and you're supposed to scratch the cards, and you could smell like different. Like, there's a thing where you could smell Phil's feet if you're interested. You could smell Debbie's root beer. You can smell all these different things. It's just like, why do I want to smell any of that? Like, there's a reason why that format died, only to be briefly revived with Spy Kids All the Time in the World, and even then, that didn't work then either. But yeah, this is just a bad way to go off of both the Rugrats and the Wild Thornberrys. Plus, the zeitgeist for both of these series had kind of pretty much died off, as SpongeBob pretty much took over as Nickelodeon's premier mascot as a whole. But yeah, this is just a mess. It's just a messy film on so many levels. But so that's Rugrats Go Wild. So let's go ahead and take a look at our next movie, which is Hollywood Homicide.
Thumbs up. Setup will keep you on the edge of your seat with its adrenaline-pumped action sequences. Ford and Hartnett are terrific together. With plenty of attitude and style. It's just a game, but the game last night. Harrison Ford is at his best. It's the most fun you'll have this summer. Definitely a must-see. Scout's gonna hit a continent? That's a good suggestion. Hollywood Homicide. Rated PG-13. Opens tomorrow.
So in the film, you have, when they're not solving murders in Tinseltown, you have Harrison Ford as a detective and his rookie partner, played by Josh Hartnett, who both moonlight in other fields. Harrison Ford's character sells real estate poorly, and Josh Hartnett's character aspires to become an actor. Assigned to the vicious in-club slang of a promising young rap act, the two detectives delve into the recording industry, where they hope to find the answers, ideally ones that are complete with property buyers or auditions. This film gets kind of a bad rap, but I'm not going to lie, I kind of admire this movie. I actually do find it kind of funny. It's actually based on supposed true experiences of one of the writers, Robert Souza, who was actually a homicide detective in the LAPD Hollywood division and was moonlighting as a real estate broker in the last couple of years of his job. So I thought that was kind of intriguing how they took that and decided to make a comedy out of it. The film gets kind of a bad rap because it does have a lot of subplots that don't really go anywhere, and yeah, that's kind of true, but kind of like with National Security, what makes it work is how the two leads work off each other. I thought they worked off each other very well, despite the fact that they really did not like each other in real life. Plus, it's funny just seeing Harrison Ford go crazy at times in this movie. Like, you see in the trailers where he's yelling at somebody for a bike to go chase the bad guys in, and then there's a scene where they're in an interrogation room and he's just thrusting himself in front of what the police officer played by Bruce Greenwood, who's sleeping with his girlfriend, and he's just going like it's fun seeing Indiana Jones go crazy and do something outside of his norm. I mean, at least to me, I thought it was, but I thought it was a fun movie. I think it's a very funny movie. It's not the best written story-wise, but sometimes you can just watch a movie like this and say, did I have a good time with it? Absolutely. I had a good time with National Security. I put those two movies in the same category. They're not the best written stories. They're movies we've seen done to death so many times, but I had a good time. I actually had a lot of fun laughing at some of the ridiculousness and the stupidity of it, but I loved it. I thought it was a ton of fun. Okay, maybe loved a little bit of an expression too much, but I like it a lot better than I think a lot of people put on it. I think it's a lot better. It certainly is a lot better than Ron Shelton's other movie he made this year with Dark Blue, which that was just a mess of a film. But I thought this was a ton of fun. I wish I could say that for our last movie here, but okay, maybe there's a couple of things in this one, but most of this is just a bad film. This is Dumb and Dumber, or When Harry Met Lloyd.
This summer, New Line Cinema proudly presents the greatest saga of all time. From the very beginning of Dumb and Dumber.
Sorry about that, buddy. It's my first time bringing a friend up there. You okay? So high school's all about looking cool, Harry, so stick with me.
What stinks?
WB, sir.
Then on a journey.
Is that what I think it is? Nope, it's a treasure map.
Cool. And an adventure
It's our own special boss, Harry!
of idiotic proportions. Michael Spade's giving $100,000 to every school that has a special needs class. Problem is, where do we find kids who can pass off as special?
Thanks, Doc! Bingo.
On June 13th, well, I've got a little surprise for you.
You got the extender?
Oh, that's close. It's a movie of the mindless.
Are you trying to be funny or are you actually special?
Before the first movie, there was high school.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
I think I need a bank.
Just get me on the No? That's my boy. Charles, there's only one way to solve this. Make out contest.
Hi, sweetie.
Dumb and Dumber. When Harry met Lloyd.
Did you just...
Maybe.
Yes, the prequel's so pointless that even its marketing is questioning why the hell they're even deciding to do this film. Oh, you think I'm kidding? No. There was actually a teaser trailer that came out before this that is literally spelling out to you that we think this is a stupid idea, but we're going to do it anyway.
Dumb, below normal intelligence. Dumber, way below normal intelligence. Dumber, completely devoid of any shred of anything that even remotely resembles intelligence. For example, trying to make a prequel to Dumb and Dumber. When Harry met Lloyd, Dumb and Dumber. They're young, they're fun, they're full of dumb.
When even the marketing is telling you that this is a horrible idea, but we're still going to do it anyway, that tells you a lot about how they felt about making this film. So it's the 1980s, 1986 to be exact, and it's the moment that Lloyd Christmas and Harry Dunn meet. Lloyd Christmas is played by Eric Christian Olsen, who would later go on to have a much more successful career in NCIS, in the NCIS series, but and then the actor playing Harry, Derek Richardson, has not really done a whole lot since then, a couple of TV shows here and there, but they play Lloyd and Harry, and the two individuals are seen by many as special and become best friends as soon as they meet. Principal Collins, played by Eugene Levy, and his lover, the lunch lady Mrs. Heller, played by Sherry O'Terry, want to make as much money out of scans, and their next idea is to create a special needs class. Miss Heller is the teacher, and they have assigned Harry and Lloyd to round the special students up, which includes Shia LaBeouf, because, you know, forget the great promise he showed in Holes. Here's a movie where he really does not have a whole lot to do in here. School news reporter Jessica, played by Rachel Nichols, that Rachel Nichols from the G.I. Joe movies, is suspicious, though, and desperately tries to find out the truth, even if it means gaining Harry and Lloyd's help. So there's a lot of notable names in here, not just the ones I mentioned, but Louis Guzman, Julia Duffy, who else is in here? Tim Stack, Brian Posehn, Bob Saget, which I'll get to him in a minute because he's probably part of the biggest scene in the entire film, the most memorable scene in the entire film, I should say. Mimi Rogers. I mean, there is a decent cast in here in general. All have gone on to better things since after this because why do we even need to sugarcoat it? This movie is bad. Like, I mean, it's a bad movie. It's not funny. It's not clever whatsoever. Even for a movie that's supposed to be considered really dumb, this is too dumb for its own damn good. I mean, this is a film that is just so lazy and so uninspired and just so pointless. Like, there's no reason to make this movie. You can't expect me to believe that these two guys are going to grow up to be the Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels 8 years after this movie. The set piece comes into play, because this takes place in '86, and that came out. The original Dumb and Dumber came out in '94, and it's just a bad film per se. And it's funny because this movie probably would have had a chance if they had gone with the original route that they had, because supposedly They were going to get Trey Parker and Matt Stone to write the script for this, but because of scheduling conflicts, they opted out of the project and basically had to return the salary they got from New Line Cinema back. And what could have been, because they probably could have saved this movie, not by a whole lot, but it probably would have been a whole lot better than it actually is, which it's a terrible film on so many levels, but it does have one memorable scene in it that actually does kind of work in the film's favor, and that is the scene with Bob Saget, who plays Rachel Nichols' father in here, and it's a scene where it's funny because it's like the first movie. One of the most memorable scenes involves poop all over the poop, except in the original it was Jeff Daniels having explosive diarrhea, but in this it's just Bob Saget screaming "there's shit everywhere." I mean, and again, this is Bob Saget, the guy who made his career off of stuff like America's Funniest Home Videos and Full House, and then he does something like Dirty Work, and then this, and it's just like, you know, look, there's a reason why he was called America's Filthiest Family Man. I mean, he has the most memorable scene in the movie, and it's just nothing but him screaming, "There's shit everywhere," and just the way he's screaming it, it's just perfect. Like, it's just it's that one brief flash of something really hilarious from something really stupid that works in the film's favor, and it's just the one thing that this movie has going for it. But everything else about it is just, let's just put it this way. The director of this is the same man that gave us the holiday classic that is Jack Frost, the Michael Keaton one. The one where Michael Keaton dies and turns into a snowman, a badly CG snowman. That should have been the warning sign that this was not going to work out. And but despite all that, it was still a hit. Like, it wasn't as big of a hit as the original Dumb and Dumber, but the thing only cost $19 million to make and did make its budget back, but doubling it by $40 million. So they did kind of make their it did end up being somewhat successful when it was all said and done, but even then, it's just kind of like, was it really worth it? I mean, was it really worth it to do this film? I mean, I guess because this came out, they eventually decided, okay, we're finally going to make the sequel, Dumb and Dumber 2, about 11 years later, which it's better, but not by that much. I'll delve more into that when we get to 2014. But I mean, at least that's better than this film. This was just, there's nothing more I gotta say about it, man. This is just not a good movie whatsoever. It's just a film that's just really, really, really bad, and it's not even hiding the fact that it's completely pointless. But I really got nothing else for you. That's Dumb and Dumberer, When Harry Met Lloyd. But the bad movies don't stop there, because as we wrap up this episode of Time About the Movies, we take a look at the preview for next week, and here's the menu for next week. Ang Lee's Hulk, which is, I think that speaks for itself. Kate Hudson and Luke Wilson, and Rob Reiner's Alex and Emma, which could go either way. But then we wrap it up with From Justin to Kelly, the second reality movie, except unlike The Real Cancun, this was actually a scripted film. Does it make it better? Probably not, but it's another, I guess you could kind of call it a shit sandwich next time. We'll take a look and see if that is indeed the case with these 3 movies on the next episode. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the plays on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. And stay right where you are, because, actually, you can move around if you want to, but after I get done posting this, there'll be a brand new Time About the Movies flashback coming up later on tonight, which includes 7 movies from the middle of March of 1988, including Police Academy 5, Assignment Miami Beach, DOA with Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan, Little Nikita, Dominique and Eugene, The Milagro Beanfield War, Beatrice, and Aria. I don't know why I'm saying it like that, but those are the movies that we're going to be taking a look at, and we will take a look at those movies right after this.